So I think definitely worth a few checks over what we've accomplished so far. So from Manager 1 here, let's jump inside of our console container. And you know what? We can do this from any console instance in the entire setup. So even the clients actually. Anyway, console members again. And we see our 3 servers, but also our 3 clients. Now, if we jump to Manager 2, and actually we are going to kill this console server, but just before we do that, we can query the API directly too, and get pretty much the same info with this command here. So using curl to make an HTTP request to this endpoint here. And okay, pretty much the same info. Anyway, let's Docker stop our console server here. We're on 2. Okay, switch back to Manager 1. Run that again. And see how it's showing us failed already. Well, let's jump back. Bring it back up. Back again. Check for an updated status. And yeah, pretty much as expected, back alive again. Now for the Swarm Manager stuff, so back to the command line of Manager 1. If we look inside the logs of the Swarm Manager container, this one here, see how we can see it's currently the leader. Well, let's stop that. Pretty much simulating what will happen in the real world if a Swarm Manager goes away unexpectedly. Let's jump over to Manager 2 here. Peek inside the logs of Manager 2. That's the Swarm Manager container running on this particular host. Okay, I think that's just not updated yet. It does usually take a few seconds actually with the default settings. Okay, there we go. New leader elected, and that's Manager 2. So no, not instantaneous, but yes, seamless, in the fact that there was no user intervention required. And of course, the newly elected manager, it's just cracking on with cluster management as per normal. Now, if we go back and bring that manager container back up, check inside of its logs, and see how it's lost the leadership election this time, and Manager 2 retains its current role as primary. Now then, one last thing before we recap the module. Oh, were we on Manager 2? Yeah. Okay, so if we alter this to list services, alright, console, but I'm not seeing anything indicating anything else. Okay, sure, we've not really got anything running yet, have we? Well, that is except for Swarm, but now there's zero hint of Swarm here. How come? Well, in order to register services, we want to be running something that's going to listen for new containers coming online and then registers them with the discovery service. So, guess what? That needs another container. And really, on every node in the cluster. So let's start here on Manager 2. Docker run again. So this is obviously another Dockerized registrator service. We want it to restart if it dies. Name it whatever you want, yeah. The important thing, mount the host's local Unix socket as a volume inside of the container. This is the image we're going to use. And we're going to point it at console. Okay, so that's our registrator service running. It's listening on the local Unix socket the Docker's bound to, and anytime a container comes up or goes down, it's going to signal that to the discovery service. So, if we run that curl again, there's our swarm. And if we drill into it a bit, great, nice detail, though only one manager, Manager 2 here. But we get to see port info and all of that kind of jazz, yeah? Now, we really want to be running this registrator service on every node in the cluster. So let me do that, but I'll spare you the monotony. Manager 1, Manager 3, Node 1, Node 2, Node 3. Right, run that curl again. Okay, all 3 managers this time. And then let's say on one of the nodes we run an Nginx container on port 80. Just give this a few seconds here. Jump back to that curl command. Chop this back to services. And there we go. That's our Nginx. So yeah, looking at our action plan, that's all items completed and signed off as working. A good day's work. Let's go quickly recap it all.